Okay, guys, we're going to start with finding the inverse of a relation. And so this is very easy, very simple to do. You remember a relation is just a set of ordered pairs, okay? So if we're going to find the inverse of that relation, we're simply going to take our x and y coordinates and we are going to flip those so that we have yx. So we'll just take that relation and we will flip y and x. And this is something that you can also graph. So I will show you an example of what that will look like in a little bit. But when you find the inverse of a relation, you're just trying to find the opposite of that. And so it's very easy. You just flip x and y and you have it. Okay? All right, for the next example, we're actually going to take an equation and we're going to find the inverse of that equation. And so we are going to find the inverse, and we're going to use function notation of f of x equal to x plus 6 divided by 2. And so everybody knows that when you're in function notation, that f of x is the same as saying y, okay, so don't forget that. That's the same as saying y. So you might want to switch that. If you see f of x, change it to y, okay? To find the inverse of this function, we're actually first going to switch the x and y coordinate, which should make sense to you since you just did that with the ordered pairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace y with x. Let me make that a little bit better. Okay, putting the x where the y was and taking the y and placing it where the x was. And this is actually the easiest way to find a function, inverse function, okay? So all we need to do now is take this function and solve for y. So we're going to use opposite operations. So you're going to take your 2, you're going to multiply it, because that's the opposite of division. You added 6, and the opposite of that is subtraction. Okay? And so for this inverse relation, you're going to have y equal to 2x minus 6. Okay? And with that, you are going to replace this with function notation. So to actually say that you have the inverse of a function, you're just going to say instead of f of x, you're going to say f to the negative 1 of x. And that's going to be what you place in for y. So the inverse of f of x will equal 2x minus 6.